It's my pleasure to be here. I was smiling when Tim was introduced before lunch. Why would a guy from California come here? And it showed out he had relatives. So why would a guy from the Netherlands, well known for its climate being as much fun as California, come here in the first place? And I don't have relatives, and yet here I am. The answer is, ladies and gentlemen, because it is Canada. It's working. What is the top sector and what is a TKI? It was already mentioned. It's a top consortium for knowledge and innovation. Just a very tiny group of people having a foundation under Dutch law. The full implication will take 2 glasses of wine, and feel free to ask me later on. That's what we do. And what's the CEO? It's the Chief Inspiration Officer. I had the privilege of giving myself a new title because I was kind of fed of being CEO or director. And it's actually quite serious, because if you are a CEO and there is one competence that you can take with you, it would be the inspiration officer part. All the other ones you can hire or buy. What I missed all day is the key question: why the hell would you want to pursue a career in food or agriculture? And that was best phrased by Woody Allen from the US. He said we have 3 existential questions in life. The first one: why are we on this planet? The second one: where do we go? And the third question: when do we eat? It's food, ladies and gentlemen. Each one of you takes 200 decisions, yes or no, per day. Shall or shall I not put it in my mouth? It's the second most intimate relationship you have with your environment. So it's not about science, it's not about production, it's not about feeding the world. It is emotion, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the guy is from the US. I think we have to add a question here. What do we eat? Which wine do we choose to go with it? That's my personal favorite. And where did it all come from? The top sector policy. We have 9 top sectors. 2 of them related to agriculture and food. One is agri and food. The other one is horticulture and starting materials, aka seeds. There's water, life sciences, health, chemicals, high-tech systems and materials, creative industries, that's a bit troublesome, energy, very big, and logistics. It's only 9. If you go to France, you will find there are 86 centres de compétitivité. That's France. I'll leave it there. So we're not doing that bad. The key is we combine the public investments and the private investments in research and innovation. And the interesting part is that includes the public money flowing to the applied research institutes like TNO or DLO in Wageningen. Also, and that's kind of a shock, it includes the public money flowing to the National Science Foundation. If you go to university in my country, they will say you the top sector policy is killing the free universal academic research. It's not true. Actually, it's half the budget of the National Science Foundation, of which we are in control of 1/3 of their budget. So it's not that bad. It's unique for the European setting, the home area on the planet for universities, but then again, Japan and Korea have been doing this for 30 years. So it's not that new, but for the Dutch, it's quite exciting. Just to prove to you that it's really choices made here, agri and food is on the top. And the total of the top sectors is 1.8 million jobs out of the 6.7 that we have in our country. So it's really the growth engines that we chose. And this is the number of patents that we file. 7.5% of the patents in agriculture and food and in horticulture are from my country, in the world, that is. So, yeah, we can do a bit, I suppose. This slide I got from the ministry. It is summarizing our old system, where you would have a 30% private investment with a direct scheme of subsidies of 46, and then the rest came from the knowledge infrastructure, either universities or the European Union. Towards the new structure that we are working in right now, private has to increase, the subsidies go down to only 10%, and the knowledge infrastructure goes up to 50%. Now, this is an audience of economics. What is wrong with this picture? Not all of you at the same time, please. I'm an engineer by training. Don't make me laugh, dear audience, please. What's wrong with this picture? No? Can you open that bottle, David, please? Okay. It's percentages there. It's not absolute volume. So the total money flow has gone down. And there is a debate if that's 500 or 800 million euros. But the percentages are correct. I thought you would see that. I'm slightly disappointed here. Okay, as said by David, I also do bio-based economy. And this is just a graph to show you, thanks to Professor Sanders from Wageningen University. You start with biomass, and then what we say, we take out food first. Why is that? Basically because no company is waiting for a restart of the food or fuel debate. If that's right or wrong, I'll leave it in the open. Then you get pharmaceutical products, fine chemicals, bulk chemicals, jet fuels, car fuels, and eventually what is left, you throw in an energy plant and you make electricity. Obviously the biomass has to do with the top sector, agriculture and food. If you go to pharma and chemicals, it's the chemistry sector, and the bottom one is the energy sector. And those three are related through the flow of biomass that we deal with. The basic idea is you have an expensive stream of biomass and you extract value from it, and then you end up with a cheaper electricity production. Where we are as Biobased is in the top sector energy, in the top sector of chemistry, and in the top sector of agriculture. Food as one entity that has to deal with all three these sectors. Makes life easy. Back to agri and food. It is the Dutch growth diamond. That's where our logo is coming from. Interestingly, this was translated for Dutch. And if you look to the middle of the slide, it says, do more for less. That was a not-so-lucky translation. That's only about our salaries. It should read, do more with less, I'm afraid. I was very happy with this slide. This is not turnover, this is added value that was made when we started the entire program. So you see the added value in primary production, then the processing, then the suppliers, and then the end of the chain, hotel, catering, and distribution and retail. If we would add all those jobs together, we would actually outcompete all public jobs in my country. And you see distribution, retail, hotel, and catering is pretty big, and it's the same all over the globe. So if we talk about 8% GDP in Canada, if you add the hotel and catering and the retail to it, it might be 15 or 16% of GDP. And the Dutch are good. It's already stated by Michel, so I'll skip this. We have quite a unique ecosystem that a lot of large companies have outlets or R&D centers in the Netherlands. Nestle, Unilever, Danone, and many others. Our universities are not too bad, nor are the Canadian ones. And that's a well-positioned start. Now, this is just to convince you that we really did the homework. What is it all dealing about? Water, energy, carbon dioxide reduction, a big issue in Europe. The waste, reuse, and so forth. And then considering the primary production, the processing industry, the distribution, and the outlet setting, so retail and catering. The second big option, create greater added value, a bit more food and hair. She is the consumer. That's where we all started. The consumer needs for healthy food, sustainable food, tasty food, and convenient food. And then we plowed back into the production chain again. And that's how we came to our innovation contract. And the last one, as also stated by Michel, we want a leading international position in system solution. Some say we should export our knowledge. My simple answer is you cannot eat knowledge. So it's more exporting the production systems than the knowledge alone. We're governed by a top team, high business leaders, and in the top team there are 6 work streams. One of them is knowledge and innovation, and right there at the bottom you'll find my name. The other one is for the international affairs, the human capital agenda. 2 little students actually want to pursue a career in agri and food. One is for market and society. One is for SMEs and the regions. Our big country also has regions. I'll come back to that in my last slide. and a specific guy working on sustainability of the entire food chain. We have a contract called the Innovation Roadmap Book. 5 lines for the more with less approach, 5 lines for the higher added value approach, and 1 actually for the international leadership, being international leadership. So this is what we all work on. And these roadmaps are detailed in the category fundamental research, applied research, and valorization. And we actually did it with technology readiness levels 1 to 9, the McKinsey approach, which is boring, basically. So we regrouped all that into 3 areas. We also deal with national, international, and regional funds. So we have a 3x3 matrix. And this is actually a screenshot from our website where you can go. It's for one reason or another the best visited page on the website, and click on the different links to funding opportunities for your product. What's the scope? As stated already, it's industry demand driven. Industry is saying what, but it's not saying how. That's up to the scientists, basically. All projects are public-private partnership. We have a 50-50 funding ratio. And the total budget, what we started with and now is around 65 million per year in DLO and TNO, the institutes. That's not money, it's brains and hands, or warm bodies as we call it. And the fundamental research is done by the Dutch Science Foundation with 22 million euros per year in cash, but that has to be spent on PhD students or postdocs. Bottom line, the total budget that we are more or less in control of, I presume, is 154 million euros per year, which is not bad. A special entity is the Top Institute for Food and Nutrition that has been existing for 16 years already, is now in a turnaround into a new public-private partnership, fundamental research in food. The phrase from farm to fork has been raised. What they actually do is one step further. It sounds very nice in Dutch. It is van carbonaatje tot bilnaatje, which is difficult to translate, but it would be something like from grass to ass, I think. So everything that happens with the food in the human body is quite important. We managed to attract quite a few international companies here. Anyone from Canada is more than welcome to join in because they're working on the pre-competitive, really pre-competitive areas. And we actually managed to get one from the US, being Kellogg's. And it was a revelation to the head of R&D there. They said, wow, we have been working on the same subjects all the time without even knowing from each other. And this is much more efficient. $1 spent in this consortium will give you like somewhere between $12 and $50 of revenue. Specifically, because David asked why would you innovate in the first place? Well, Apple and Microsoft say it all. It was halfway 2010 that the total stock value of Apple exceeded the one from Microsoft, whereas the turnover of Microsoft was 7 times as high as the one from Apple. And that's because 80% of sales from products from Apple were launched. We're coming from products that were launched in the last 3 years. I tried to get these figures from Unilever, but that didn't work out quite well. So it brings more value, that's bottom line. If you don't, you end up in the squeeze of ever decreasing lower prices. I'm sorry the slide is in Dutch, but you can see that an egg is 0.8 euros a kilo in my country right now. Just a bit more insight of the market, some 55 billion euros turnover. And everybody immediately looks at retail, more specific to supermarket. This is 2013. You can see in the red figures that the crisis hit us hard as well. But the other channel, as stated before, is the food service. And that you can split again in restaurant catering. And the gray channel or the petrol channel, where a sandwich is about 5 times the price that you would pay in a supermarket. What I know from the retail companies in my country is that they go shop in the special stores that we have for restaurants to see what's going on. many new things are brought to us by chefs. And that's a setting where you can communicate with your customer because you're eager to know what's on your plate, right? Go try that at a shop. It's basically impossible. So if you're a producer, find a chef that you like, talk to him, and make him introduce your product. Well, we're big and we're good, and I had the honor to present the first round of plans that we had a couple of years ago to our Prime Minister. And he knew about the jobs, he knew about the percentage of GDP and everything, and basically he didn't care at all. It all changed when I addressed him about health. So the first angle is there are many chronic diseases food-related. Here are the data for my country. If you add it up, it's more than 5 billion euros that we spend in the Netherlands to fight the effects of wrong diets annually. So I could look him in the eyes and say, how much do you want to take off that, Mr. President? 10%, 15%, 20%? Any euro invested in better diets is paying off like hell. And then, obviously, because there are nice graphs, obesity is the eye catcher here. This is a picture from the US. It's actually 2 women and 1 man. I can do it shortly. This is the short version. This is the David from Michelangelo in Florence in Italy that was lent to America. And after 2 years it came back. And it looked like this. And if you think now he's pleasing the Canadians, I did show these graphs in the US as well. So don't worry. Some data here. Many of you must have seen it. This is the CDC data set of the US. They started measuring the body mass index. You all know what that is, I presume? Body mass index over 30, clinically ill people. This is a 28.5. I'm looking into what I put in my mouth. After this, they started to measure it every year. And it speaks for itself. Ka-ching. 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 Each year I sit at my computer, download the latest graph from the year before, and I think it can't be any worse. And actually it is. It's increasing. I have plenty of slides to fill those minutes. Don't worry, Mr. Chairman. As said, it's fundamental research, industrial research, and demo that you have to act on different ways. The knowledge chain, which is implanted in all of our heads, is just not working. Yes, you have to create a knowledge push, but you have to combine it with a market pull. And we are lucky we got a long-term vision, and that's not 4 years, that's 20 years ahead from the major companies we have in our country. And we added short-term dynamics from SMEs. Then you talk to the boss, and he can decide or she can decide if they want or not go and invest. Managing a portfolio like this in real life, and I hope Jim will agree with me, is more or less looking like this. You buy in, you buy out, you stop, you get ideas from others, and that's how the engine is running. So what we also did is follow the entrepreneur. If you pick up the phone with an idea and you call a knowledge provider, if they're good, they say we can do it, but most likely they will say we can solve your problem, and then you're in shit. So we throw in a broker team with long experience in innovations in their specific field. If you want to apply for a project yourself, you're welcome as well. And what they do is they help define the business case. That's the most important thing they do, and they do it for free. The Netherlands is right there. We are too small. We actually need other countries. If you come to me and say, hey, I have this new grain, I want to make a bread, I would send you to Germany because there's an institute that does only that. And with us, you have to find. So we now have an overview of what's going on in this area, which is pretty much all of Northwestern Europe. We are the hub, as Michel already said. I'll skip that, especially because David asked and he warned me, I don't have time. A few examples. I'm from Holland. I brought you something. There's light on. This is green cheese. It's made with pesto. I have here red cheese. It's made with pesto, another type of basil. And I have blue cheese, lavender. And I have where we all started with, the yellow cheese. Now you tell me, which one is the most innovative? Oh, come on, I want coffee too. Give me a break here. Just yellow color, doesn't matter. Lavender, no, you're all wrong. It's the yellow one. Why? Because what I said, it's health that triggered our ministries for funding, and we now managed to decrease the salt content of this staple food, because that's what it is in my country, by 15%. We also did it with bread. Slowly, step by step, took down the salt content, and for the first time in history, the salt intake in my country has decreased. This is on offer for the wine and cheese tasting later on. If you have a very good knife, you can all have 1 gram, I suppose. All our examples are on the website. Feel free to come. You can also click on the country map and see what's going. And this is one in English. It will be on the website available, the work we do on whole grain breads. This is another one. You know this. And the gender issue was addressed before. I didn't know. Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult anybody, but this is a famous joke from the US. The mission is to go to Gap and buy a pair of jeans, and there's the female coming in and the man. I rest my case, I presume. But what we found in our restaurant of the future, where we monitor people, this happens all the time. So men know after about 3 days where the goodies are, and they go into the restaurant, go after the goodies, put it on the plate, and go to the cash register. Women don't. Each day, they go see what is in the shelves. We didn't expect that, really, but that is what happens. So the very practical tip is, if you have a catering situation in an office where a lot of women work, you need more square meters. Otherwise, they will pile up in the catering situation. This is one that I'm particularly proud of, a guy working on packaging of fruits and vegetables. What you see is a tiny hole that is made by a laser in a plastic. And I do it in line in the packaging facility. The trick is you measure the amount of oxygen that your product consumes and the amount of CO2 that your product releases. That's fine-tuned. Then you design the respiration rate curve, which is put eventually into the laser equipment in line, existing facilities, that's very important. And you burn tiny holes to optimize the oxygen concentration in the product. So what? It will extend the shelf life in supermarkets by 2 weeks maximum, which is, a very profitable thing, because you don't have to throw away worn-out products. And the latest thing, and he introduced it. Yeah, oh no, you're mean to me. He introduced it yesterday. I downloaded it. He now has also the bags to put on large quantities. This is open for getting it into Canada. His launching customer actually was Marks and Spencer's in the UK, not even the Netherlands. What it's all about, I think, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to pursue these innovations, you have to do things sometimes slightly different. And this is not what you would expect, but it is so true. Feel free to think inside the box, and feel free to find a partner who does the same thing. And that's in addition to what Jim already said. My latest statement, because you allowed me to. Who of you knew that the red, white, and blue thing was the flag of the Netherlands? That's just to please me. I don't believe you at all. What I think, and I'm sorry about the misspelling here. If I say it, it's Saskatchewan. It's pretty much the same. But I've had many, many delegations from Canada, and I'm always very happy to meet Canadians. But last visit was from Prince Edward Islands, and I didn't even know they existed, really. Whereas the maple leaf, your national pride, is an asset in itself. And yes, it started, as said by Michel, you were our liberators. And without your dads and your uncles, we would all be speaking German for sure. Don't get me wrong, I'm fluent in German. But it has a brand promise by now that is much more than that. My first visit to Canada, I've been here many times. It was a very welcoming country, a very welcoming society, especially the people. Now, I don't talk about the nature or the size or whatever. It's the people that really matter. I had the opportunity to talk to many students, PhD students, and the discrimination thing is increasing in Europe, and it breaks my heart to say. And they looked at me when I addressed it to them and said, "From which planet are you coming? That's not an issue at all." Well, that is one of the major assets of this country. So please, stop being from Waterloo or Toronto or Prince Edward Islands or Saskatchewan or Quebec or whatever. You're Canadians. And everybody knows that logo. It's a brand, and it's a brand promise. If you make it an umbrella brand, you do sub-branding, that's fine with me. But it's Canada, nothing else. We have the same problems, by the way. And our flag, you all know this. It's the tulip, it's Holland, and we are the only country in the world with a color. It's orange, actually. That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for allowing me to finish my talk.